welcome to Movie Review Mom. And if this is your very first time joining me, yay, you made it. I've been waiting for you. My goal here at Movie Review Mom is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so you can make the best decision for you and your family as to whether or not you want to spend your time and or money watching a specific film. So today, the film I'm reviewing is called Deadly Illusions. So it is currently playing on Netflix and available on video on demand on June 1st, 2021. So for what it's worth, this is not an actual Netflix production. And I say that because Netflix has been pumping out some really great award-winning movies and performances really ever since the pandemic. And this movie was really just attached to Netflix through distribution. So I just wanted to make that distinction. The movie is rated R. It's an hour and 54 minutes. And I'm going to give you my movie review mom grade at the end of my review. However, I think you're going to tell pretty quickly what I thought of this movie and how low the score is going to be. Okay, there was a spoiler. All right, so first I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell. I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, and then I'll even offer a couple of recommendations for movies that I think that you'll also like if you like this one, or if you hate this one, movies that I think you really will like that are sort of similar. All right, let's dive in. First of all, I was really intrigued to watch this movie because I'm an author and an author coach. The film's description says, after a best-selling novelist suffering from writer's block hires a new nanny for her children, the line between fiction and reality starts to blur. So I really liked, sorry, I keep banging my microphone with my fingers. Sorry for the thumping. Anyway, I thought that that sounded like a really interesting setup. And by the way, my little shout out, if you are a writer who would love to become a #1 best-selling author like me, I would love to pay for your first free strategy session with me as a marketing coach. See if we're the right fit, see if this is something that I could help you with. All right, end of commercial. So this movie is really kind of a psychological erotic thriller, but it's so badly written and executed that I'm giving you fair warning here. There were, however, some things that I liked. First of all, fans of Sex and the City, the popular TV show, will be excited to see Kristen Davis starring in a feature film. Her character is conflicted in many ways. And unfortunately, she's not a strong enough actress to really save this film. I thought that her character was sweet as a mother trying to provide for her kids. And in fact, when she takes them to school every day, she has a special little unique handshake kind of sorts that she does with each of her children. They're twins, which you don't really learn until later in the film, and it doesn't really matter, just that they're the same age. Anyway, so she's trying to be a good mother, but she makes horrible decisions throughout the movie. Greer Grammer stars as the beautiful nanny, and she also produces the film. I really liked the original musical soundtrack by Drum and Lace, and there is a lot of tension, a lot of creepy music playing when it's not necessarily a creepy scene, but it makes you think something's going to happen. Anyway, but there were some other moments that I thought were really good. Every author's writing process is different. So in the movie, we see Kristen Davis's character writing her book with pen and paper rather than on a computer. When I first was transitioning to a computer, I really had a hard time, and I did write to pen and paper. I just felt like the creative flow was better. Now I've since conquered that, and I write all of my books on the computer. However, if I'm not near my computer, then I absolutely will take notes. I always have a pad of paper with me so that I can, get in the flow again. Anyway, we also see her character create kind of a storyboard, which is a technique that I recommend to a lot of my author clients because it really helps you to see the story develop and allows you to make intentional decisions about where you want to place certain scenes or reveal certain things about characters and that kind of thing. So again, from a writing perspective, I, thought that was kind of cool. Now, there are some lessons to be learned, and one is that husbands and wives definitely need to be extremely careful to protect their marriage from external relationships and impropriety. So, for example, my husband never drove our female babysitters home at the end of the night. In fact, we mostly got male babysitters because I have 4 sons, and I just thought that that made a lot more sense. But it wasn't that I didn't trust my husband or the sweet babysitters, but too many crazy things can happen based on what other people think could have happened. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it. And no, people shouldn't judge or assume what they don't really understand, and yet they do. And so, to protect your marriage from all external sources, we just always made sure everything was on the up and up, and we weren't seen hanging out with somebody of the opposite sex, that kind of stuff. So anyway, there's that. Let me tell you about some of the things I didn't like about the movie or thought the movie could have handled much better. First of all, the title, even the title isn't original. So many books have actually had the exact same name of Deadly Illusions. It's a really cool title, but it's been used a million times. So I thought that that was weird that they didn't pick a different name. Honestly, I'm really surprised that Dermot Mulroney actually went for this script because it's just written so poorly. The movie itself is just weird and creepy. I mean, who takes a complete stranger to go bra shopping and then stays in the dressing room to help the person put on the bra? Like, what? That was the first scene when I realized that the movie was just ridiculous, and it just gets worse from there. However, it's often hard to know what's really happening and what's fantasy. Of course, that's the point because the protagonist can't tell either. Then again, the execution and the writing are so bad that it makes you wonder if the writer and director even knew which was supposed to be fantasy, which was supposed to be reality. It is very blurry and very unclear. Even the very last scene of the movie, you're like, okay, so wait, what are you saying? And that's one of the biggest problems of the movie is what is it that the writer and the director really want to say here? There are some terrible acting moments. There's this one scene where an older librarian goes, she's typing on a computer and she goes, but that's mild compared to some of the other acting moments. There is a lot of exposition where characters are telling the audience, not breaking the fourth wall, but just making it known in case the audience isn't smart enough to know this is what's happening. And so in that way, I felt like the director was really talking down to the audience. The most powerful rule of thumb in writing is show, don't tell. There were some Gollum moments, from Lord of the Rings that just made me laugh out loud. Gollum, the kind of psycho hobbit from Lord of the Rings, where he's like, yes, I love you. No, I don't love you. We need to kill him. No, she's my precious. No, we need to kill her. Those kinds of acting moments. And that was in the movie. And I was like, okay, this is completely laughable. There are some twists in the movie, but they're completely ridiculous with so many plot holes and details that just don't make sense. We're left with more questions because Act 3 is a complete mess. All right. So you're kind of getting the drift on this movie, right? Let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, this movie is not appropriate for children. Plus, they're going to be bored anyway. So if you really want to watch this movie, don't watch it with the kids around. You see a married couple rolling around under the sheets, and then later they do it in the kitchen closet. You see some skin where two best friends are in a spa, sauna, and then in a shower, from here up, really. A pretty girl wears an immodest bathing suit, and then later you see her in her bra many times. The mom smokes cigars kind of as a phallic symbol of her warped, developing manly obsessions with this young girl. A woman goes skinny dipping in a pool, and later you see part of her actual naked chest in a bathtub with stuff. You see stuff. There's totally tons of inappropriate sexual allusions to women kiss, for example, among other things. You see some blood in a murder scene. There's some profanity, crude language, and an F bomb. You see the naked backside of a man in a shower, and then there's some violence. So, all of that content screams rated R. Now, there were some themes that were presented in the movie, some well, some not so well, but themes worth talking about are family, parenting, love versus lust, truth, trust, infidelity, appearances, mental health, and reality versus fantasy. So every time I watch movies, I write down funny lines and interesting lines so that I can share them with you and you can kind of get a feel for the movie. And I always post them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. But when it comes to funny lines, I didn't write down anything. The movie is just all drama. So there wasn't really any humor at all. There were some interesting lines. One just kind of made me laugh. It was actually spoken by Dermot Mulroney's character, and he's talking to his wife and what he finds sexy about her. And so he says this line, and I just rolled my eyes and thought, that's what women wish men would say, but it's not very. Okay, so what he says is he's talking to his wife, and he says, you know what I feel most sexy? Your brilliance. Maybe that was the funny line in the movie. And then there was another laughable moment where the mom was just having all of these inappropriate conversations and moments with this nanny. And then she's telling her best friend about what's going on. And so she says, that's bad of me to think of her like that, right? Like, really? You have to ask someone if that's wrong? For this really brilliant author, she just is pretty dumb, really, and makes just ridiculous, terrible decisions. Anyway, ultimately, here comes the drum roll. My movie review mom grade for this movie is a D for don't waste your time. I mean, really, honestly, it's an F, but I kind of like alliteration. So D for don't. How about that? All right. So let me give you some recommendations for a couple of movies that are kind of classics that have kind of this psycho female thing going on in the movie. And these are movies that are done so much better, award-winning movies, in fact. The first one is Gone Girl. And I don't know why that just kind of came to my mind as I was watching this movie, because you feel like you know a character and then the character shifts. And then same thing with the next movie, which is Fatal Attraction. Now, these are older movies, especially Fatal Attraction, but good classics. So if you liked the idea of this movie and where you hoped it was going, you definitely will enjoy performances and filmmaking quality in both of those movies. All right, that's it for my review today. I hope that if you watch the movie, you enjoy it. And if you don't, well, I told you so. Thanks for your support by subscribing, liking this video, commenting down below, and visiting Patreon to support me over there. I really appreciate it. All right, I will catch you in the next movie review or trailer reaction. And until then, bye for now.